Recorded from the off. Oh my
Mate,
goodness.
Oh yeah,
as they
we're not
say,
here to fuck spiders.
yeah, as they say in Australia, we're not here to fuck spiders. We're
Not here to. I
we're
mean,
currently
I am also not here to fuck spiders.
we're currently playing the the New York Times
You ever
games.
do those thing like Wordle or
I used to do those. We used to do them daily, and I've seen TikTokers that do them like all day. You know what I mean? They just do constant wordles. They literally just sit on live stream and just bang out loads of wordles. It looks insane.
people have too much
Imagine
time on their hands.
but no, imagine getting paid for that.
Well, I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
It's like, dude, I've sat there for way too many minutes at a time watching people open Pokemon cards.
oh yeah.
Why is
Yeah,
that shit so addictive? And then every time I walk past the store, I want to buy a box of them.
Yeah, never I collected them when I was a kid, but will always watch people open like baseball cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Don't know, it's just great. And then when they get something, it's like that was fun. Moving on.
Nick from North Lane, the last time we had coffee, he was saying that on their last tour, they must have like filmed themselves like buying a pack and opening, and then from then on at shows, everyone came and gave them Pokemon cards, and they would like open some on stage. He's like, it was sick, but it got to the point we had too many Pokemon cards. I was like, is there such a thing?
No, there's not such a thing.
That's using I think power for good.
Yeah.
There's an thingy, Corpse Grinder, the singer of Cannibal Corpse. He like mentioned one time that his daughter likes stuffed animals, and now every tour he just get like people just like chuck him on stage. And he took this picture once of like him outside the tour bus with like dozens, maybe hundreds of stuffed animals, and it's just like, how does he even get these home?
Also,
yeah,
Corpse Grinder with little fluffy teddy bears and stuff.
Yeah, right.
It's
so good.
What we should like mention something that we like that we want a lot of.
Oh,
like to
I love money.
Yeah,
Money, cash,
cash. Yeah, the paper ones. Yeah, none of that coin shit.
Cash.
Anyway, dude, welcome. Thank you for hanging out. We've been trying to make this happen for the better part of a year, I reckon.
A year.
I know.
Since we started the channel, we've covered you guys and built a relationship at the start. And then we're like, we'll do it eventually.
It's just the time, isn't it? Like it's very late for me, very early for you, and it's hard to sort of meet in the middle. Like you guys are, crack of dawn, 8 a.m. and I've literally just finished my stream. I'm going to be off to bed after this. It's mad.
Thanks for staying up for us.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. What did you stream today?
Thursdays I do like music recommendations with everyone in the Discord. So there's like a Discord channel where people just like pump it with tunes that they want me to listen to, and I just like listen, talk about it, react, blah blah blah. And then Sundays and Tuesdays I do like either me playing games or like playing games with viewers or stuff like that. I usually just play Overwatch. I'm a one game man, and it's very colourful, very loud, very fast. Satisfies my ADHD.
Yeah, you were hard on that Elden Ring for a minute as well.
I'm a Souls vet, as cringe as that is to say. But
Hang on, can we dumb it down for someone who doesn't game? What's a Souls vet?
So there's a gaming company called From Software, and their big break was what they call the Souls franchise. So it was Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, blah blah blah. And they're all basically a very, very similar game with very similar mechanics. And Elden Ring was like, they were popular, but Elden Ring took it to the moon.
I have heard of that one.
Yeah, Elden Ring is like one game of the year, and it's massive, and it's
yeah. I didn't play that. No,
fuck, I don't know where I heard of it.
It's really good. It's really good. But I'm gonna have to be that guy that's like, I played it back in the day. I was like, I grew up on Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1, and then ended up like playing Dark Souls 3 so much, and I was like a big PvPer. Like obviously I like the main storyline and all that kind of stuff, but I was really in it for the online play, and I existed in the sweaty meta of that, bro. I could have taken some of the best players in the world to school on that game. I spent so much time on it, and there's loads of.
I love it. I love the confidence. I love the self brag.
I was on that shit. I had like thousands of hours on that fucking game, and yeah, it was so. And there's loads of old YouTube edits of me just like running around, just absolutely annihilating like teams of 4 on my own, and it's just I loved it. I loved it. Elden Ring was PvP wise was quite disappointing, but single player wise, best game ever made.
Does PvP stand for player versus player?
Yes, like the online element. So it's very.
I'm figuring shit out as
Are
we
you
go
a gamer
here.
now?
Am I the gamer?
I think you're the game.
Pew, 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 pew.
Unfortunately, I'm not much of a gamer anymore. I play like once or twice a week, but this is sort of like in my early to mid 20s. I was rinsing that game every single day.
It's kind of a cool thing though that you can connect with people through that. Like the fact that you can do the streams and talk music, but then the gaming can be something that people still enjoy. What if you said, "Hey, watch me game for the next half hour"? I'd probably be okay with that. And I'm not a gamer, so I think it's something that people can get down with watching. Like we're saying, unwrapping Pokemon cards.
It's cool. Like, and I play with my viewers and stuff, and we stack. And I'm a proper fucking sore loser. So, anytime I lose, I'm just very vocal, and I'm in a bad mood, and it makes for good.
Yeah.
It's just like then you get to the point where like you've got one of your subscribers going, does like the singer from one of my favorite bands hate me now?
Bro, I'm the kid that would like flip the Monopoly board and cry when I lost.
That old trick.
I'm so competitive, and now obviously I'm old and ugly now, and I've got a handle on my emotions. But every time I lose, even when it's something simple, inside screaming, crying, throwing up. What comes out is obviously much better managed these days, but internally I feel all the same emotions. I hate losing so much.
My son is the same, man. Like there's always a fucking excuse. There's always a reason why he gets another go. Why? Oh, no. You said this so I couldn't concentrate. And like, there's always an excuse.
You did tell him he was adopted midstream.
That's funny. My brother told me a story once. I used to play for some obscure reason. I was like quite good at table tennis when I was a kid, and I won all the local tournaments, and then I won a bunch of regional tournaments, and I went to compete at a national tournament. This when I was about like 14 years old. Yeah. And I thought I was hot shit because I'd won all these tournaments, and I was like dusting all these guys. I was like, yeah. I went to this national tournament, and my first game I got slapped. I was like, I don't know. I was like the number 60 or 70 seed, and my first game was against like the 12th best guy in the country, number 12 seed, and he annihilated me, bro. I didn't even stand a chance. And apparently, and I do remember, like the entire time I was getting really, really frustrated, like kind of like angry, crying, and like just smacking my bat and stuff like that. And my brother, who was there with me, he literally said he's never been more embarrassed to be supporting someone. And I was like, honestly, I get it, because I'm there just like, just like 13-year-old kid.
And it's not like a thing where you can like muscle in and be like, well, if I can take my aggression out, you've just got to use your tiny little paddle furiously.
Yeah, literally. And I was getting dusted, bro. It was embarrassing to see me in such a state, and I respect him for telling me.
I had a similar one with actual tennis, actually. So I was semi-decent back in the day when I was around about 14 and was playing at a tournament. And my parents had bought me this brand new Wilson racket, like this, at the time, these graphite, like special strings. And I don't know. It seemed like it cost a lot of money, but it's probably only like $80 now or something, because I don't think they're that expensive.
At the time, that would have been expensive.
Yeah. But I lost my game and I lost my cool massively. I threw my racket. It went over the net, straight towards the opposite player, who had to duck. The bat hit one of the metal poles holding up the mesh fence. It bent and fully wrapped around the pole. And I was like, I felt super embarrassed right away. And then I came off the court and the coach said, yeah, you can't come back.
Can't do that. That
was the end of my tennis career.
Yeah, that wasn't too far away. Yeah, that wasn't far away from the end of my table tennis career as well. It wasn't cut out for the nationals, apparently.
The beginning of the end.
Well, you found a better career, and I think it suits you well. Music.
Transitioned to music, and it's work.
Yeah, I like that about you.
It's going quite well, but before we start actually talking about the music, I want to put a little bit of a hard question on him, and I want to know why you haven't been back to Australia in quite some time.
Yeah,
we feel personally attacked, and we're here to complain about it.
I totally understand. There's two answers to that question. One
Nath
is
and Johnny.
We haven't had an offer to go back to support someone. And if I'm being brutally honest, I don't think we have the following to do a headline there that wouldn't lose a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? Like to make it over to Australia, you've either got to be given a really good support offer to go over with a band and blah blah blah, like we did with Trophy Eyes, or you go over and headline. And I just don't think we would be able to not sink loads of money into headlining, because we'd probably do like maybe couple hundred people per venue, maybe.
Yeah,
if I'm being really optimistic.
I'm gonna focus the camera for 1 second. Sorry, you keep talking. Keep talking.
We need to be a stinkier band.
We're blurry.
Are we blurry?
Well,
You're blurry on my end.
Grabs all the focus.
No, he reckons we look good.
Yeah, looking HD as fuck, bro.
HD as
You're in
fuck.
focus. I'm blurred. Your face is in focus. Mine's blurred.
Ah, right. Okay.
I think that's just how you look, man.
I'm glad that you said that while he wasn't here.
What was that?
He said you look fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Looking yoked, bro.
Talking about Johnny.
Yeah,
his dreamboat shirt.
Yeah, I'm an
Wrong
egg.
boat, baby.
Yeah, wrong boat, honestly.
Yeah, sorry. Trash.
It says the thing.
I should just write it on my hand. No, well, see, it's been some time since you've been out here, and I would have a Trash Boat shirt because I like to purchase from bands at shows so they get a little bit of cash in their pockets. I do not like to buy merchandise online because it costs $50 on top of the shirt cost to get it sent here.
Fall Out Boy released like some Halloween shirts yesterday, and one of them was a little vampire and said, I found the cure to growing older. I was like, that's fucking sick. Old school lyrics, doing that, $50 shirt. And then it was $25 shipping. I was like, I'm not paying half the shirt. I'm not spending $90 to get a t-shirt here.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Sorry about that.
It's
I think our official site does ship to Australia, but I reckon the shipping will be more than the shirt.
You can buy one thing.
That's been the case, yeah. So
just
what
how
you're
it
saying is I need to buy lots of Trash Boat stuff to
what I'm
make it
saying.
viable.
Or
buy a vinyl.
come
You buy a thing. Oh.
yeah, or you just come over to the UK when we do our tour, and then you can just get merch in person. No shipping fees then.
That seems like a cheaper option.
I mean, the flights can't be that expensive, surely.
No, he's a businessman. I like this.
Just swim.
When is the next tour?
We literally just announced it yesterday or today. We announced it yesterday and then went on sale today. It's January, February in UK and Europe.
Who are you playing with?
We actually haven't confirmed. We've sent out offers, but we haven't confirmed any sports yet. It's our headline tour.
Where are you playing? I'm just trying to sell it for you right now, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's basically it's all over the UK and then Germany, Netherlands, I believe in Europe, but like multiple Germany shows and then a Netherlands show in Tilburg.
Where's your big, like you're saying, like you don't think you have the following in Australia to justify it?
Which I disagree with, by the way. That's just
we
me.
don't count. We love them heaps, but we're not enough.
Well, the thing is, you'd have to fuck around and find out, and we don't really have the capital to fuck around and find out. Also, I don't think we have a booking agent that would sort us a tour in Australia. Like we have an American booking agent, we have an English and a European booking agent. I don't think we have a booking agent that would personally handle Australia. If we got an offer,
it's not a booking agent right now.
Yeah, we've got friends.
Like if someone who was who needed a good support band wanted to do Australia and take us to Australia, like for instance, While She Sleeps just doing their Australia tour. If they'd have asked us to go over with them and do that, heartbeat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even if we were going to take a little bit of a financial L, we'd do it. But if it was sort of, we haven't tested our market there in so long that we just don't know whether or not it would be something. Because like if
it's not going to be financially viable, it has to be bums on seats viable. You have to know that, like you said, if you came out with While She Sleeps, they've got the fan base. At least your eyes are in front of plenty of people every night.
Yeah, and if you sort of like put the tickets on sale and it gets to a month before the tour and you're at like 10-20% sold on the venues and it's going to cost a load of money and there's going to be like barely anyone at the shows, it'd just be like something that you don't want to see. And we just haven't sort of reached a point where we're like, let's take that risk in Australia. And I'd love to go back to Australia. Because when we played there, we we did it with Trophy Eyes. The shows were awesome. We did some like little headline shows. We did one in like Wollongong, and just a couple of little off day shows, and they were all wicked. They all absolutely went off, and it was really, really cool. So I'd love to do it again. It's just been a little too long to be confident enough to do a headline.
Do you use things like social tracking on like the streaming servers to kind of go, well, here's who's listening and that's how much is there?
Yes.
Where are people listening? Is it predominantly UK based?
You know what? It's predominantly UK, Europe, America, and then like Indonesia is massive as well. I don't know, like the Indonesians really, really like it.
Sleeps just did a show in Indonesia, their first one the other day, and they said it went off.
Yeah. But yeah, it's the classics. It's England, America, Europe, and then obviously like Indonesia, Australia, stuff like that. But yeah, nothing so significant in Australia where we'd be like, oh my god, we have to go back and headline there.
Yeah,
maybe soon.
Sure.
Maybe after this video comes out.
Fingers crossed, because I will say, and I mentioned this to you yesterday, and it wasn't blowing smoke, but this, and it's hard for me to admit this, because when you guys came out, you were in that explosion of that punk hardcore crossover bands like you guys. You had bands like The Story So Far, For You Strong, like all those bands that really had a great crossover of the punk world and the hardcore world, that emotive sing scream style that you do. So your first couple albums like have a very, very special place in my heart, because I was right into that style. But this album is hands down your best album so far. It's fucking sick.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, I think so. I think like Don't You Feel Amazing was a little bit of a shot in the dark, because like Nothing I Write You, our first album, was a shot in the dark. You know, we were the kind of heavier pop punk band that was like really fast and also did like hardcore riffs and break, and like I don't think this might sound a little bit like egotistical of me to say, but there aren't a lot of like, you can't, I don't know, maybe you can answer this as someone that's like abstract and objectively listening to the music, but like it's hard for me to say Trash Boat are the band that sound like, we've always been like quite unique even to a fault, you know, because we don't really land on like a vibe that is very mass appealing that everyone can like latch onto. We've always been quite like a quite a scatty band style wise, and that was very present in our first two albums, but people like quite latched onto that. And then with our third album, we sort of switched it up a little bit, not super intentionally. We weren't like, we're done with this, we want to move on to something else. We just, in our classic shot in the dark kind of way, like anytime a riff lands, we're like, do we like it? Cool, send it to the studio and let's get it done. And Don't You Feel Amazing was sort of like a little bit more on the even more experimental side. And then this most recent album is like the very much refined version of that, where we really feel like we've settled into that style in the same way that Crown Shyness was that to what Nothing I Write You was. So yeah, I appreciate that, because that's how I feel about it as well.
The pop sensibilities that you brought in with Don't You Feel Amazing, I think elevated you guys to another level. And I don't know if that was like an intentional thing, like we want to add more of this in just because that's what we're enjoying. I feel like this album's actually gone back into a heavier way, but it's more polished. So it ties in really well. We both really liked Don't You Feel Amazing. I thought you had some absolute belters on there.
Yeah, there was a lot of cool elements that I didn't expect to hear from you guys in that, because as you said, you know, with your earlier stuff, I think the thing that drew me to you guys more than a lot of other bands that were sort of akin to that style was you did have, like, you'd be listening to a song that's like, sounds like an absolute banger, emotive pop punk song. And then I hear a riff or something in there that sounds like Comeback Kid. And I was like, there's no other bands doing this that really tap into that true sort of hardcore sound, which is a style I really loved as well. So, but yeah, like Nate said, there were so many elements on that album that I didn't expect to hear from you guys.
Just the catchiness.
Yeah.
The catchiness in there was something that was super, super infectious and fun. And like when the sing-along factor is something that you hadn't had as much before. Whereas I thought bring that in, and there's that in this, like you can hear your vocal melodies. You've still got that, even when you're getting a bit more aggressive, there's still like a hook to them. There's something there that you've kind of fallen into, which I think it's fun, because you're getting songs stuck in my head pretty easy, which is great, but also annoying. Stop that.
No, I also like, because I've gone back and listened to to some of the tracks on our old albums occasionally, and hearing like how my voice has changed is crazy.
Yeah.
Like back when I didn't really understand what I was doing, I was just singing really loudly, and like, you know, people love it because it's very raw, and I get that, and it's cool. But once I like, now it's in its like final and latest form at the moment, and it's probably, it could still change. Who knows? It could still get even better. But yeah, like my screams are just getting way easier to do, way thicker, way tougher,
way longer.
Yeah, right. That's a little party trick, isn't it?
It is.
Goodness gracious. We talked about that the other day. We were
about...
talking about your Linkin Park cover from a few years back. And I hadn't listened to the album yet. And Johnny was like, just you wait.
Yeah.
It's kind of cheesy. Like I recorded a video when we were sound checking, because everyone's like, oh, Chester's 17-second scream, like is this iconic thing, and then like, oh, Tobi's done like a 21-second scream. The actual scream itself is and like, obviously, you know, this is because I'm a vocalist and I know what I'm doing, but it's not that difficult to do.
No, if you've got a decent lung capacity and control.
And I recorded just to kind of take the piss a little bit while we were sound checking Are You Ready Now, a show we did the other day. I recorded me doing that scream, and then I did it for like another 20 seconds. So it's like 30, 40 seconds long. And it's kind of cheating the way that you can do it. But when you got a microphone up to your mouth, like it sounds like a real scream. But the one I did in the studio on Are You Ready Now, I did it like full dick. So it was like, I wanted it to be massive. I didn't do the cheat scream. So 21 seconds was as much as I can do at the time. We're doing like a full scream.
You saying it's not that hard. I just want to clarify, you're a fuckwit. Because for the majority of people, it's not like having the technique and the lung capacity. Like, if you've got lung capacity, people have to train to do that. You do this as a job. You're very good at it. Don't be humble. It's very sick.
It's simple. It's not easy.
There we go.
It's one of them ones where if you know the techers and you understand how to sort of use minimum resources to create at least the illusion of maximum sound, then it becomes very simple. But yeah, it's not something that you can just like do. You have to sort of, it's taken me like 10 years to figure it out.
And you also find that during live shows, when you're all amped up and adrenaline's going, you're moving around, having the like wherewithal to go, cool, well, I better like stabilize and brace and set myself up for this section here, because I can't be running around crazy and exerting myself in the lead up to this. Is it hard to like keep that in mind and then get to it and be like, oh shit?
Yes, for the exact reason that I am a fuckwit, as you say, because as soon as I touch that stage and I see that there's people ready to go crazy, I'm like, well, I'm just not going to practice anything that I preach now. I'm fucking in the moment, and I'm just gonna absolutely blow my voice out doing the craziest scream.
My voice apart, yeah,
literally. But for most of the time, I try to maintain a degree of like mental clarity and think, okay, don't go super hard for this bit, because you know you've got this big song coming up. And I used to do that a lot because like I used to want Given Up to be really early in our set so that I could get it out the way.
Yeah.
Because whenever I had Given Up in the set, it was always this, you know, you're in front of like anywhere between, when we did it on the I Prevail tour, because we slid that in to kind of just get the crowd going a little bit, like a little cheat code, because no one was going to know who we were on the I Prevail tour.
Move.
Yeah, so like it gets the crowd going. And anywhere between like 1 and 10,000 people. And as soon as you start playing that, as soon as that second chorus comes up, all you see in like this ocean of 10,000 people is just.
And you know the exact bit they're going for as well. They don't care if you nail the chorus. They don't give a fuck about the riffs.
And I'm like, oh God, like I've got to do it now. And yeah, so like in the songs before that, I'm basically just not having a good time because I'm like, I've got to nail this. And then once I do it and I do it successfully, the rest of the set, I'm like, yes. And I'm just going absolutely nuts. Yeah. I don't give a shit anymore. Like I've done the bit and I can just crack on. But bastards in my band, they always used to put Given Up on like right on the third quarter of the set. So I'd have to do like the first half at least, and then be like, okay, now I've got Given Up. Come on, let's do it. So I'd have to be a good boy.
It's because it takes so much out of you, like because of how you have to like brace yourself, like physically to do something like that. It takes so much out of you that it's not nailing the scream that it's the hard part. It's then being able to continue the set after that once you're already gassed. Because I always found that, like,
as well.
Yeah, I always found that when you're on stage and you're jumping around, it actually kind of helps because your body's warmed up, your lungs have expanded, you're full of air, you've warmed your voice up by that point. And I always found that it was sometimes way harder in the studio because it's like you've already been tracking for hours, and it's like you can't just go in and go, oh, I'm just going to do the scream tomorrow when my voice is rested, because then you have to warm up for another hour, and it's not going to sound exactly the same as you did the day before, which is another pain in the ass about doing vocals. It's like once you commit to it, you basically got to do it, because even the slightest change in the tone that you're creating that day can be really noticeable to some vocalists, and everyone else might not notice it, but I would be in my head about it.
Oh, bro, I suck in the studio. I'm one of the worst studio singers ever. I get tone blindness. You should hear some of my takes, bro. Melodyne is my best friend. Like sometimes I'll hear the song and I'll be like, right, I'm vibing, I'm good, and then I start singing. I'm like, bro, I nailed that. I go and listen to the take and it's like half a semitone flat, and I'm like, I just don't understand how I'm missing this so much. And I get it all the time. Like sometimes I do pretty well, but like a lot of the time I get studio blindness. But then as soon as I touch that stage, the volume, the looseness, the energy, I'm my best self. Like I'm a way better singer live than I am in the studio, because I tighten up and I miss in the studio. I don't know what it is.
That's, if there's one way to be, surely that's it though, because people who go to pay money to see you get the best of you. They're like, oh, I heard that. Fuck, they sounded so much better live.
You can fix it in the studio.
Yeah, exactly. And the latest song that we just put out, the one with Kenta, I had to rewrite that chorus because I wrote a chorus that was really, really cool. But then we spent 2 days trying to get it in the studio, and it just sounded like salty dog water, bro. It was so bad. I could not. The melodies moved around a lot more. It kind of went like da 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 da, and like my voice just missed all of the high ones. It just missed them all, and I'd come out of all of those days thinking, "Is that one better? Is that one better?" And all the guys would be looking at me just like,
"Did you try and change?"
Yeah, no. The thing I hate is when you are in the studio and you do a take, and like you're sitting there at the mic and you're going at it, and then you just look out from the side of the mic and you look through the window of the fucking booth, and he goes, you just hear the let's do that once more. It's like, fuck.
Once more? Yeah.
Just one more. Let me just get that one more.
You said that 12 times now.
Yeah, and it gets worse every take as well because you're getting more and more tired. And the worst thing about it is that, like, I think, like, I'll do a take and I'll be like, that was good. And it's like, wasn't great.
Hey,
great.
Boring technical production question. With things like Melodyne, how do you go with your tone? Because
do you want to explain to the people listening to this what Melodyne is?
Melodyne is a tool where you can just ever so slightly shift your vocals to be in key if they are not in key. However,
we've never done anything remotely professional in this channel, so I figure it's about time if we're going to start talking about this. Some people might get some background. Like, they didn't say dicks 4 times.
We'll talk about dicks shortly.
Melodyne, go on.
So I don't record anywhere near as much as I used to because I'm not as active. But how do you go? Because you and I have a similar thing where we sing in that really gritty tone, and that would always, if I was even slightly out, this is the thing that people don't realize about singing in that tone, is you have to nail it because of the cracks in your voice. Melodyne picks either one of them and can spike it. Has Melodyne come much further than that, or do you still have that issue?
So my screamy singing voice is actually decidedly much more accurate than my regular singing voice.
Same.
So when I hit my screams, they usually spot on, and it's my like clean singing that tends to be a little bit rough. So Melodyne in the studio. So Melodyne helps me out there. But when and sometimes there's so many sections of songs that I want to change to scream singing so I can just nail it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Melodyne that we use, and this is obviously, it's very important for me when we're doing this. Like, I would rather something be a little bit off and a little bit messy than be heavily melodyned. So like, if there's a really good take where my performance is very, very strong and I'm emoting and and it's a believable enunciation and a believable projection of the words. And then like the melody's like a little bit off. It's like put the gentlest bit of melodyne on it and then let the kind of inconsistencies be part of the character. I way prefer that.
It's
way
also
prefer
very punk rock. It's, it's, we didn't have auto-tune the way that we have it now back in the day. And you don't have it live for the most part.
You didn't have recording back in the day for you, mate.
It's interesting. It's not even like a higher thing, because like we have a song called Better Than Yesterday, and it has the highest clean singing on the whole album. I nailed that in the studio. Great takes, awesome, even the high bits. But then there's a song called Lazy, where the second verse goes to this kind of like high mid range. I just couldn't get it. Every time I sang it, it would like I'd think, oh yeah, I did that really well, and it was just always a little bit flat. And I was like, why was I so able to do this harder bit so easily, and then when it comes to like this specific range, it started to fall a bit. It's very odd. Like I think I need to go back to like a classically trained vocal coach and try and figure out exactly why that kind of thing happens. Because when I hear it in my ears, I'm like, that was perfect, and then you hear it back, it's like, that was not perfect. And there must be a reason for it.
When you're writing the songs and the melodies, is that something you keep in mind of being like, okay, I'll be able to more easily nail this, or is it just like, no, this is the emotion that I want to convey with this, so this is the melody or tone we're going for?
Probably behoove me to think a little bit in advance in that respect, but I don't. I just write what sounds good, and then I worry about whether I can perform it later, hence having to rewrite that entire chorus because I couldn't perform it because it just moved too much, and it was just too weird. But yeah, I just write what I think feels good, and then just keep my fingers crossed that I can do it, and usually it works out.
Who inspired you in this album? Because I feel like I can hear heaps of like elements of artists that we both really like throughout there, and be like, oh, that's like a streetsy moment, and then it becomes more straight from the path, and then there's like a Prodigy little guitar line there. And
I'm here for the new metal bits and the Slipknot riffs. They're
yeah. You know what? I would actually think I would say that we have been inspired predominantly by our own music, and then mixed it with Deftones, Linkin Park, Queens of the Stone Age, like just kind of bringing in groovier, rockier, riffier vibes. And unfortunately for a lot of people that fell in love with our older stuff, not as much like fast pop punk drum beats. And that's the main change. Like loads of people think like we're a completely different band, and I get it because it does sound quite different to our old stuff. But lyrically and melodically, it's very similar. The key difference is the rhythm. Like we're no longer doing like those and going like really, really fast and like finger pointing pop punk style verses. It's like half the speed, and it's much more like nu metal-y and groovy, which I do understand totally changes the sound. But it wasn't like, I don't know, we never really felt like spiritually or metaphysically or whatever, like sonically, we never felt like a totally different band. We still felt like we were writing very much Trash Boat songs. They just had different backbones, which changed it a lot.
You've changed as people. You've grown up. You've evolved. Like, like you like different things. You want to try new things. And it still to me is wild that anyone that's been into, I'll say like any music, but for me, predominantly guitar-driven music, where you've got a collective of people that essentially sit in a room and write on instruments and try vocal melodies over different riffs and things. It's still wild to me that someone who listens to Trash Boat or Architects and has been listening to them for a while and listens to all these other different bands from that subgenre because they like them all, can't fathom the fact that someone in one of those bands may also want to try elements from the other bands that they like. It's totally wild to me.
I've said this multiple times in multiple different ways, and I'll say it again. I entirely and completely respect everyone's opinion who says that they preferred us when we did X, or they preferred us when we sounded like X. Because sometimes you fall in love with the sound. You don't fall in love with the band. You fall in love with the sound. And I totally respect that. I have those opinions all over the place. I'm not going to say that I don't. We, for better or worse, better because it's us, and we're not going to like just think, oh, this was popular, so we're going to keep writing this because it was popular and we want to make money. We go entirely with the flow, and unfortunately for some people that like that consistency, that's not going to be something that they like. So they're going to have fallen hard in love with this thing that we did, and then when we sort of drift, as we always have, you know, we've always just been sort of floating around in this weird, hard to pin down genre style. But we wrote 2 like sort of semi-consistent albums, and even then they were kind of like drifting into this like weird, heavier stage back then. And then we kind of took like a little bit of a bigger shift. And yeah, like, you know, there's bands that I fucking love, by the way, like Knocked Loose, Kubla Khan, A Day to Remember, consistent bands. You know what I mean? You know exactly what you're going to get when these bands put out an album, and that's wicked, because sometimes, you know, that's all I want from them. I don't want Knocked Loose to put out anything other than the angriest fucking music I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And we are not that band. We're kind of a band that just are liable to switch it up, and some people don't fuck with that because they want that consistency. They want us to keep releasing the music they fell in love with. And, you know, from our perspective, it's weird because like we don't see it as big a change as some people. Obviously it is. I can step outside of myself and I can recognize there has been like a semi-significant shift in our style, but we just are vibing like we always have. And some people, obviously, like we're bigger than ever. You know what I mean? So we did lose a lot of fans. We gained a lot more. And there's been like a very sort of like chaotic storm of people falling out of love, falling back in love. Maybe like they're like, oh, I didn't like this, but I like that one song. Who knows? We're going from strength to strength, but yeah, we're not a very consistent band. Maybe we should be. Maybe we'd be more marketable if we were more consistent.
What's a band, since you just brought it up, I'm now going to make you say a thing publicly. What's a band that you loved and they changed their sound and you no longer vibe with them as much?
You know what? I still like them to this day, but I remember when Stick to Your Guns put out the first single from Diamond, I thought this isn't as angry as it used to be. I remember when Bring Me the Horizon stopped writing death metal. I was very upset with their switch up into metalcore. I love Bring Me the Horizon, by the way. But I remember when Polar Bear Club put out Death Chorus, I was very upset with that because
that was a big one for me as well. Because
voice anymore.
Yeah.
It's when Title Fight put out Hyperview, I was upset that wasn't very like, you know, edgy, groovy, grungy Title Fight. Loads.
I'm going to go back to where you said Stick to Your Guns. Have you heard new Stick to Your Guns?
Yeah, it's back to basics.
It's 100% back to that thing. I think that was just they've stylistically chipped. I get it with like bands like Bring Me, who have like from Count Your Blessings to fucking sing along stuff, but they've evolved as a band and there's been like constant progression. The ones that get me where it's just like the album comes out, and you're like, what the fuck happened here? It's a completely different band from like same. Now with this. And
100th,
I get those.
100th, the one that did that.
Yeah, 100th. They went like shoegazy out of from like hardcore.
It's just almost like it's entirely. And I think to myself,
what a wonderful. Sorry,
nice. I'm like, how can you even make that work live? Are you just completely saying adios to the past?
Yeah.
Like, and it brings me to my next question for you. When you talked about the inconsistencies in your sound, writing set lists, how do you keep that flow now with so many different dynamics?
We play everything and it works. Like we played the Fighting Cocks on Wednesday, and we went from like Bad Entertainment to Trinquarry to Filthy Righteous to Better Than Yesterday to Shade, and people were going fucking crazy because they're all high energy, riff driven, screamy, singy, like poppy hook, hardcore riff songs, and they all have the same like trash boatiness. There's just quite a high variance in the rhythm. Some of them are like groovy, rocky, grungy, nu metal-y, and some of them are fast, scatty, post-hardcore, pop punky. So like, and that's why to me it's not that big of a variance, but I understand and appreciate that for other people it's a huge variance, and it feels like we've done this like big thing because we wanted to like change who we were, but we didn't see it like that. For us, it happened so slowly, it didn't feel like we were changing at all.
I've never asked this to anyone before. Do you think that bands, when they're curating set lists, believe that the crowd cares way more about that sort of stuff than they actually do? Because like you said, when you're there in the moment and you're hearing songs that you love from a band, like Linkin Park would be a perfect example. How would you go from Given Up to is it like One More Light or something like that? And people are still going to go, they're just going to go, that was a banger. Oh, but I love this song. Do you think the bands believe the crowd cares more than they actually do?
You'd have to ask the band, honestly. I mean, there's one moment. There's several moments that I can think of. I remember when Title Fight. I've seen Title Fight dozens of times, and they are probably in the top 3 most insane shows I've ever seen. They played the Underworld. They were supported by like Dead End Path and Spycatcher, I think. I can't remember, or like it could have been Shook Ones, something like that. And they touched that stage, and for an hour straight, in the top 3 craziest shows I've ever been to. Every single person knew every single word to every song, and they were clawing their way to get up to scream these. And this was on the Shed release tour, so this was before Floral Green. And then after they put out Hyperview, they played Outbreak Festival like 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. And they touched the stage. They opened with I can't remember the name of the song. It's like, I made promises. Something off Floral Green, huge. Everyone went crazy. They played something off Shed. Everyone went crazy. Every time they played a song off Hyperview, everyone stood still and the room died. And everyone was kind of like, wow, don't know what to do. And I was watching and I felt so bad. Like you could see they were on stage. They were just like, not good. And then they'd go back and they'd play a song from Shed and everyone would go crazy.
So it wasn't just like a thing where obviously a lot of bands have songs that don't invoke that reaction. So it was like a dead, not just like a taking it in.
Yeah, I'm sure that we're enjoying the songs, but the vibe, like the energy of the show was just going up and down so much.
Yeah,
we don't include old songs. They don't even feel that old to me. It's crazy, but we have been doing this for 10 years. We don't include old songs to pander to fans that want to hear them. We put the songs in the set that we think are good songs. Like we put Bad Entertainment and Trinquarry next to each other because they're both very like jumpy songs. You go like jump, jump, jump. They both have that same energy, so they fit well together.
You got to enjoy doing it as well. Like
totally love those songs.
You can't expect people to give you the energy back if you look like you're going through the motions.
But we had a thing when we were riding on Don't You Feel Amazing, and obviously we were getting like a little bit of like, oh, I wish they'd go back. Like all the Twitter warriors were coming out, just being like, oh, I wish they played this. I wish they played this more and more. So we were on our way to play Slam Dunk Festival. I think we were coming off of a tour with The Offspring or someone. And while we were on the way to Slam Dunk, we were like, you know what? Let's play mostly old songs. Slam Dunk it's an OG festival. We made our bones at Slam Dunk. Let's post a thing on Twitter that says we're going to play mostly old songs and just have a couple new songs. Let me tell you, bro, half those old songs died. No one gave a fuck. And then we play like Bad Entertainment and some of the new ones from Don't You Feel Amazing, like Alpha Omega, and everyone was going like idiot, and everyone was singing along. And then we played. What did we play? We did like Inside Out from Crown Shyness, and then we did like something from Nothing I Write You. I can't quite remember what it was, but it was like it's still a popular song from that era, but not like a lead single or whatever. And no one knew it. Everyone was stood there just like, cool, we'll just wait for the songs that we know, I guess. And we were like, fucking all these guys on Twitter, where are they? They're not coming to shows.
You know where they are, dude? They're on Twitter doing the same thing to another band.
Yeah, and that was literally the only time that we've ever been like, you know what, we're gonna like give the people what they want against what we want, and we won't ever do that again. We're probably gonna do in 2026. Nothing I Write You will be 10 years old. We'll probably do a Nothing I Write You tour because
that makes sense.
People know what they're getting.
That's exactly. Yeah, you can't cater to the keyboard warriors. It's not worth it for them.
They're not on shows.
Yeah. Talk to me about The Drip, because that's a change up in vibe that I want to talk about because I love.
Such a good song.
Such a good song.
Yeah. But literally, lyrically, it's the best lyrics on the album. Those lyrics poured out of me. You couldn't stop me. And I'm very, very hypercritical about my lyrics, and I always cringe when I read my own lyrics. But the lyrics on the Drip, and it's like, and I double cringe if I try to write like a politically motivated song.
Yeah.
Because I'm always just like, who the fuck am I? Like, I don't know anything. I don't know enough to change the world or be like a, significant voice like a Noam Chomsky or like, Zach De La Rocha or someone like that. I'm not so involved that I feel like I could write something that would be so poignant that would like completely change the structure of our economic or political system. So I always tread carefully when I write a politically driven song, and that is a politically driven song. I fucking love it. The lyrics are wicked. So, and I it's such like a cheesy Queens of the Stone Agey, like with that piano on top, and it's I that's the sleeper of this album. I think it's really.
I'm calling it out. That's the one song I'm calling out straight away, being like, it came on, and when it's gone, I was like, like really got my attention because it was a bit of a change up. What was that a conscious, like, that's the vibe I'm going for? Did it fall that way? Was there any rewrites in that to make it fit the album better? Because it does stand out for me.
It's the black sheep of the album for sure. It's the one where it's just like a little bit. It's the one where it is a little bit, just a little bit different to the rest. It's the one that doesn't quite fit in. But honestly, it was, when we're writing an album, we have dozens of riffs, and we're just sending each other like these 30-second wabs of like a guitar riff. And it's like, should we work on this one? And Ryan just had that like do 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 do, and that was it. It was just that riff, and it went on for 30 seconds. It's like, can we use this? And then he just put like a little drum beat on it, and I started doing that vocal style that I was doing in the verse, and it's just like, it came together so quickly that we didn't have time to decide whether or not this riff was going to be a song. It was just a riff that Ryan pulled out, and then we kind of wrote pretty much the whole thing in like a couple of hours, and it was like, well, this is a song now. This is a song. Yeah. I really, really like it. And then the pre-chorus is my favorite bit, when I start screaming. The flow is just right, and just like sonically, rhythmically, it just felt good in my ears when I was listening to it. And despite the fact that it is a little bit of a sort of different vibe, I was just like, I like it. I think the fact
it's a different vibe though, and like kudos to the song positioning as well, having that like in that kind of midpoint of the album, it's almost like a palate cleanser of sorts. Like it really was like like fresh and sparkly, and then back into some eminence. I think you nailed where it sits in there. I also like that it's not a single. It's just like something to pick up when people listen to the album, because we've said this before, because of the way like streaming and YouTube and everything works now, most people have heard most of the albums before they get them. So it's cool to have something that's quite unique and different left to be discovered on the album.
Yeah, it could have been a single. It could have been a single.
I'm glad it wasn't.
It also was never going to be a single, because it would have been too inconsistent. It would have been way too left field. Like, we had to kind of keep the singles reined in a little bit.
It's definitely something that you have to be conscious of now when dropping new music, because as much as you might believe in the strength of the song as, a piece of music, especially with the way that, YouTube and reactions, and that's how a lot of people find their new bands and things like that now. When you are trying to reach new audiences, if something sounds way too disjointed from what they've heard before, it's almost like I'm too scared to go and check it out now.
Yeah.
Or I'm not interested now. People are quite short attention span and fickle now.
Unfortunately for
us. Would you say Would you say that that's your favorite track on the album?
I would say that it is going to be the most underrated track on the album. Lyrically, it is certainly my favorite track. And I think the fan favorite track, based on aside from like the two big ones with the features, because obviously Filthy Righteous is probably my favorite song. But the fan favorite so far seems to be Better Than Yesterday. People love Better Than Yesterday. When we played that at the Fighting Cocks, everyone knew Better Than Yesterday. And I was like, I thought that was going to be like the cheesy one that people were kind of like, yeah, it's nice, it's cheesy. They fucking love it. They love it.
Cheesy. Cheesy's cheesy for a reason.
Yeah. That's why Macca's did a cheeseburger, then a double cheeseburger, and a triple cheeseburger. It wasn't for the meat. Johnny ate all of them. It was for the cheese.
One. But yeah, I mean, look, Filthy Righteous is my favorite song. It's wicked.
Are there any tracks that you haven't played live that you're looking forward to playing live more than the others?
I mean, the drip is something I would love to play live. You know what kind of is really, really hard to be someone is really difficult to play live. And it obviously it's a great song. It doesn't feel good playing it live. It's very like it's very quick. It feels like quite disjointed. But yeah, it's once it settles into it, once it gets to like the chorus and Eric's bit, it's really cool, and then the breakdown is also really cool. But yeah, I'd love to put the drip. I think the drip is definitely going to sneak its way in there.
And you talked before about giving up that scream. Are you ready? Where are you positioning that in the set for your own mental
we did it on Wednesday. I can't remember exactly where it was, but it will have been like in the first quarter or the first third of the set for sure.
That could be a fucking opener. Hit it, just soar out of the park, and then
and then just cruise for the rest. Yeah. All right, gun to your head. If you had to cut one track from the album, what would it be and why?
Cut one track.
I love watching artists struggle when we ask this. It's where they've just released something they're so proud of.
the easy answer is probably the intro track because it's a minute long, but that's cheating.
That is cheating, and we won't allow it.
I think it would be between Burn, the second track, and as much as it's one of my favorite tracks to play live, I would never cut it from the live set, but cut it from the album, maybe Liar Liar. I think Liar. Maybe might cut Liar Liar because why? I think just as an album track, it feels a little bit too cheesy pie, but as a live track, it goes off. It's so much fun to play live. But yeah, it would probably
riffs though. Oh my god,
yeah, it's cool. It's cool. But yeah, probably the second track on the album, Burn, just because I think it's like the one that I feel the least connected to. I guess I still love it, obviously. But yeah,
that's a fair enough answer. I actually was, when I listened to the album in full, I was like, oh, I've actually listened to more of this than I thought I had already. I don't know why, but there was singles that I was like, I forgot that was for this album release. Like, we checked out. So when it snuck back in, I was like, oh, this song slaps.
Yeah.
And I already know it.
I actually, it's one of those things where we've spoken about this before, about having so much of the album before it's actually dropped. And then a lot of bands are dropping an album. It's only like 3-4 new songs. And for me, it can go massively either one way or the other. It can breathe an entirely new life into the other tracks, or it can completely sort of kill the flow and the excitement of the new tracks, because I'm sort of just listening to the old stuff to anticipate the next track that I haven't heard. But with this album, it's one where it did really sort of, I'd say, breathe new life into the tracks. It's not like they're old, but it did really give them a new personality, I think, listening to them amongst the other songs, because there are so many cool little dynamic shifts on this album. There's a lot of ebb and flow.
Maybe too many.
You're singing a lot more aggressively than ever, but the pop sensibilities are still there. Yeah, I think they were well placed as well.
Agreed.
Like where the singles were.
Yeah, it's quite easy for us to do that, and I think it's because we're not like a concept album band. We don't think we don't think, right, it's time to write an album. What is the story of this album specifically? Therefore, we need to write all songs within the context of writing this album. All the songs lyrically, all the songs that I've ever written are just reflections of my experiences, my opinions. It's me, basically. And I don't have to think, oh, I'm going to encompass this specific section of my life into this album. So we're constantly writing and releasing music, the hip hop method, like how many of your favorite hip hop songs that you've ever heard, you think, oh, that's on that album. You don't give a shit because the song is the thing that's big. You don't remember what album it's from. I couldn't name you a single Queen album, but I could sing you every fucking Queen song that's ever existed. I don't know what fucking Queen's albums are called. Don't care. Because
I know one of them, Greatest Hits.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, that's it. So we put out Delusions, we put out Liar Liar, and we were just constantly putting out music. And then the beauty of that kind of writing style is that when it comes time to put things together in an album, there's always that degree of consistency where like we can pull all these songs together as long as they're not like really, really drastically different sonically, and you can be like, well, this album encompasses this period of time of my life, and this is what it's about, and this is like the major things that I was feeling, and that's what we kind of have always done. We didn't do it with our first album. With our first album, it was very much like we're writing for the album, but weren't writing as much music back then. Young band, we had a very like specific idea, and we had a lot more time to get it done as well. But there's no time limit on this, really. Like, there's no like album campaign, or there's no we're writing this for an album. We're just writing music, and then eventually it ends up as an album.
Yeah, okay, that's great. Well, it is getting late there. We're going to let you go.
I have an important question.
Oh, what is it?
Talk to me about your goatee. We talked about this the other day.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know
we did,
many people with goatees anymore, and you have one, and I want to know about it.
This is the best. This is all I can muster. It's the best. Like,
you can't do the full beard.
I can't. No, look. So I get a little bit of this, right? Yeah. And if I let that grow out, it's embarrassing. What I did is I started with just the tash, right?
Yeah, you look good with the tash.
Well, this is the thing. I was never super confident with my tash, and then, like, we took a couple promo pictures of me with the tash. My girlfriend said that she likes the tash, but in a way that I could absolutely tell that she fucking hated it. And then everyone, like family members, friends, all were saying like, "Oh yeah, looks good. You look like this really embarrassing fucking thing. Oh, you look like this guy. That's a total joke." And it's like, fucking hell, obviously this doesn't look very good. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'll grow out whatever I can to match it. And this is it. It doesn't even really connect here, man.
It's very clean though. It looks like you've styled it to be like that. So very good genetic, just even growing. Well done.
It kind of makes it look a little bit like Kai Havertz, if we can go into our other love, which is Arsenal. And I'm just like, I dig it. Like, I wonder if I was like, is he doing that because?
No, the sole and only reason is that I have never been able to grow a full beard of facial hair. And because of that, I've just always shaved it and been a guy with no facial hair. And this is my, I'm in my 30s. I'm going to give facial hair a college try for once in my life. I'm going to see what I can do. And I see what I look like when I try to grow out my facial hair. And this is it. This is the result.
It's Johnny called you a predator when we did your last track. So I don't know how that sits for you.
Hey, if the shoe fits.
It's like some like Italian porn star energy, isn't it? Like this, like
I think your moustache is fucking great. Actually, very neat. Here's my I like to give grooming advice, so you're just gonna bear with me here. I would keep the stash, just lose the little bits that drop down. Just go with you've got a very neat, even flat moustache. Don't know me.
Keep it porn.
Fuck, you're the worst.
But the things that drop down is what makes it a goatee, because I don't have these bits. Look, they don't grow.
I'm saying remove this. I think just keep this neat, very nice moustache clean. You look handsome as fuck. You're very chiseled. You've got a good jawline.
Thank you. That's what I had, and it was violently bad feedback from pretty much everyone. It's one of those things where, like, even I was like, all right, you know what? I think I'm walking around looking like a bit of a joke with this. Like, because I backed myself when I had it. I was like, I look great. I love it because I love myself. I'm confident. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to rock this moustache, and I'm just going to love myself and love every second of it. And then everyone was just like rinsing me and like was being really.
What's that shit on your top lip?
Oh, fuck's sake, man. Am I walking around looking like a twat?
Well, the benefit of having the goatee is that no one else has a goatee currently that's not ironic. Like,
and it's very
ironic. Yeah,
it is
100%.
Yeah.
Or Hetfield. It's very like metallic-esque as well.
Yeah, but the problem is he can't do the Hetfield meetups to make the giant.
Yeah.
Oh, did he have that?
Yeah.
I thought he had just a goatee bit for a while.
I could try growing this out, but like it's just very bum fluffy, and it doesn't come through like this. Like
bum fluff. I'm so glad you guys use that term in the UK. I used to love that.
Remember when we had bum fluff? Yeah, you don't. It's too long ago.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. No, but I was the same. I was bum fluffy until about 26, and then it just went, hey, guess what? Doosh. And I was like, oh, cool. That hides my fat chin.
When I met you, you were about 26 and you had much like curlier beard, fluffier looking. It is much more like beardy now. Now you're in your 60s.
Yep. This is it. We'll see how it develops. You know, one day I might just be like, you know what, I've given it the college try and I prefer what I look like without facial hair, and it'll all just disappear. But
Or-
I've taken promos with this now, so it has to just last the
Keep
out.
going
ride
this
it
bit
out,
out
yeah.
and go the full like wizard beard.
Yeah, the
Real-
wise man.
No, the
Yeah.
whole thing, just real here. Oh, that'd be fun
Get
to play
along.
with.
You could play with it on stage.
Go
when
the
you're
like the
doing like
shove
mic grabs
style.
and people are doing these ones to you. That'd be great.
The mic grab, they're doing shin grabs.
Shin grabs.
I mean, when I had the tash, I imagine myself with like, have you seen like Matt Honeycutt on stage?
Yeah.
Kublai Khan.
Yeah.
Hat, the tash, looking fucking beefy. Anytime he barks into the microphone, all the girls are going,
beefy,
like,
though.
oh my god, he's so beefy. And that's how I sort of imagined myself when I got a tash, but it was a bit more like Freddie Mercury and not Matt Honeycutt. And I was like,
a bit more
fucking
70s porn.
Freddie got heaps of, oh my god, too.
Yeah.
true, very very true, very true.
Hey, what would your porn star name be?
Oh, there's a generator on Google for that, isn't there?
There is.
Yeah, what is it
Right.
like? The last thing you ate, and the second word is
How do I
the name
search
of your
without
first
getting
pet.
porn
And it's
come up
like,
with porn
You know what,
star name?
I might just like, I tell you what, if I ever become a porn star, I'll just use my real name and just fucking big dick it. You know what I mean?
no, well,
Like,
you've got to
no
actually,
fake name, no alias.
you've got a great last name for porn. If you think about it, Duncan, this
Duncan,
inside you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking him in.
How do
Yeah.
it just told me one without even doing it. I don't want that. Have you done the Wu-Tang name generator?
I have not done the Wu-Tang name generator, no.
That's how Childish Gambino got his moniker. He just literally
No
typed
way.
in Donald Glover and it comes up as Childish Gambino.
No way.
We fucking talked about this on the channel, you
Dude, I got
dickhead,
shit
because we
memory.
gave you a Wu-Tang name and it was pretty cool.
What was my
I'll
Wu-Tang
look
name?
it up
Yeah.
and then I'll do Toby's.
Old bastard.
I'm going
I
right
should've-
now. Here's, I'll do mine.
There's like, you go into like the Reddit link because that has the official one. If you Google it, it'll come up like a top Reddit link.
Mine is Zexy Killer.
That's pretty good.
Shit. That's
That's
not
decent.
bad, actually. Yeah. Is it killer with a Killa?
It's Zexy, ZEXYKILLAH.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, AH.
shit. At the end.
Johnny is Bitter Bandit.
Yeah.
Bitter, BITTAH. Shit.
Yeah, that's not as good as Zexy Killer.
Definitely not. And yours is
Tough Samurai. TUFF Samurai.
TUFF.
You guys got that today.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got done bad.
Zexy's
My side project is definitely.
Hey, because it's been ages we've been trying to get you on here, we're going to go old school to finish off. But before I go old school, where's Arsenal finishing this year? With Rodri, he doesn't care about football. With Rodri out,
Saka's just got injured, hasn't he?
I know.
Saka just got
Fucking
injured, losing to
international.
Crete. Yeah, unbelievable. Listen, we're going to finish top four for sure. I'd really like to think we could win. I've thought that for the last 2 or 3 years, and it's been a reality for the last 2 or 3 years up until the very end. I think we're playing very well, very consistently. We're not conceding a lot of goals. We are scoring from set pieces a lot. Set pieces are very common. That's a great thing to be able to score from. And we have a little bit more depth. And even without Odegaard, we are still doing okay. So I'm hoping Saka's injury is minor. Odegaard comes back at some point and we continue a degree of consistency. Maybe we win. I don't know. But it's tough out there, man.
It is. I'm feeling like this is the year.
Stressful. Like we've had that Leicester game, stressful. Southampton game,
Southampton's stressful. Yeah.
fucking stress FC, bro. Like we can't ever just clear it. It's always got to be to the wire, and I guess it makes it more interesting. But we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. All right, we got that out of the way. We kept it short and sweet for you.
It was.
He's not a sports ball guy.
I
Yeah.
played football growing up, but I couldn't care less about watching sport. I don't have any interest in it. If you were like, let's go kick a ball around and play, hell yeah, I'm down. I think that'd be so fun. Next time you're out, we'll do a little 5-on-5 thing. But watching, I just don't care.
I mean, I can't run because I've got a bad knee and I can't run. But I started playing five-a-side with Ryan and James, And it was dead fun, and like I was in goal, which was my position anyway. But like you get this tiny little D, so you're not allowed to move. So it's
Johnny's always had a tiny little D. Sorry, I couldn't help that.
And I was like, this is perfect for me because I get to play a little bit of sport. I get to play. It's great. And I went to save the ball. The ball hit my hand, dislocated my shoulder. Hurt so bad. Still hurts. And my body is simply not conducive to sports. And I did like multiple contact sports as a kid. And that's what I wanted to do. When I was like 14, 15, I was like, I want to be a professional kickboxer. I want to do jiu-jitsu. I want to be in the UFC someday, blah, blah, blah. And from 14 to 18, I tried my absolute hardest to do that. But my ligament genetics are shocking. Like my shoulders, if I like swing my right arm too hard, my left shoulder will like go out and then come back in. And like my knees hyperextend. Yeah, it's crazy. My knees hyperextend really, really easily. My wrists, they are like really crackly. Everything on me hyperextends and like subluxates really easily. So all of this contact,
like Mr. Fantastic stuff where you stretch out. Maybe that's an option. Superheroes.
Every time I've tried to do sport in my life, the gods have just gone no. And I finally recovered, like, and I found a sport that I could potentially do because I didn't have to do any running. And then all of a sudden, it's like, I don't know, doing it for a couple months, and then I great save, ball hits my hand, shoulder completely out of the socket, most painful thing I've ever experienced. And I now know how to do
sports. now you've got your temper in check. Table tennis, you're back, baby.
There's too much knees involved in table tennis, man. You know what I'm on at the moment? I'm just on gym, stay healthy, lifting chunks of iron and trying to stop the slow decay of time from crushing.
We'll train together next time. I
feel that, bro. Yeah, just it's hard out there, but you know, you got it. You know, my body is a temple.
Yeah, totally.
Where I haven't told this Johnny yet, but once we're done here, we've got to record some videos, and I was going to try and convince him to come train with me before we do that because my gym is downstairs.
So. Yeah, bro. The guns show.
Total gun shot. I've only just recovered from the shoulder thing, so I haven't trained in like 6 months. I've started to get back in the gym like 2 weeks ago, and my body can't. You know when you get like really bad DOMs when you haven't been to the gym for fucking ages, and then you rip a chest day or like an arm day or whatever, and you wake up the next morning, you're like,
everything hurts and nothing's okay.
And my fucking cat, who wants to get fed at like 5:30 in the morning, walks across my chest, and I'm like, it's literally the way. It's the most jarring thing ever. I'm like,
Tiny little creature. It's doing it on purpose too. Fucking cats.
100%.
Yeah. Evil animals. They hate humans, I believe.
Finish it up.
Old school. Let's go. A couple of would you rathers. World of Wizarding, because you're a nerd like us. Gandalf or Dumbledore?
Who wins in a fight?
Who wins in a fight? Gandalf. 100%. Dumbledore's just some guy. Gandalf is literally a demigod. Like, get out of my face. Gandalf is taking that.
Fucking idiots.
Gandalf is taking that loaded.
What if he doesn't have his sword?
Who cares? He's got his staff, the one of the rings of power, and the fact that he is a literal demigod.
I forgot he's got a ring of power.
Does he?
Yeah. He's the wielder of the sacred fire, bro.
Yeah, but Dumbledore could do the sacred fire with his fucking wand.
Yeah, he's basically immortal. Like he's also basically immortal, because if the god that's higher than him decides that it's not his time to die, then he could just he has hacks. He has God on his side potentially, and even if he doesn't, I reckon he slams him, bro. I reckon he slams that. But I mean,
convincing. Like, this is the least combative you've ever been to anyone's Gandalf.
I'm actually kind of curious because I don't know enough about the lore of Lord of the Rings and like the backstory. Toby sounds like he knows shit, and
It's interesting that, like, obviously Dumbledore could just cheese it and be like, Avada Kedavra, bang, you're dead.
Nah, he wouldn't know. He's too noble for that.
Exactly. So, like, I reckon
he's a fucking boss. He's the most powerful wizard of all time in that world.
Yeah. But I feel like the Harry Potter style of wizardry is very, like, direct. Like, attack spell, fire spell, throw you around the room spell. Whereas, like, Lord of the Rings stuff is full of more, like, combat. The ring that combat, but like the ring that he wields inspires a degree of courage that means that you have like an edge when it comes to your mentality, shit like that. And it like makes you luckier, and it means you have like.
See, I don't know any of that stuff.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he has the hacks. he has like the, well, God has decided that I win this battle, so I win. Whereas Dumbledore is like just some dude who's good at magic, which is why I feel like Gandalf would win.
I'm really. Where do you know all this about Lord of the Rings? You've just really captivated me right now. By the way, is this like Silmarillion backstory? Where are you pulling all this info from?
I just, you know, I've read the books, I've watched the movies, and I've dug into the lore a little bit. And you know what? I've seen Harry Potter. I don't really care about Harry Potter, and I obviously care about Lord of the Rings.
Have you read Harry Potter?
I've read like the first 3 books.
People can get fucked that are like Dumbledore's me. If they haven't read the books, you can't be like, I know this, but I don't know this, therefore this wins. That's not how life works. I'm willing to discuss because I've read both.
I agree with you, and I really I don't really have a leg to stand on, but I don't like Harry Potter.
That's okay. You don't have to like it, and I heavily disagree. But you can't argue because you haven't read both. Whereas I have read both.
So hypothetically,
go on.
What does Dumbledore? What's his, in your mind? What are you imagining is the move that Dumbledore does that beats Gandalf?
The thing is, Dumbledore has infinite moves. He has like the ability to like. So when in his big like battle with Tom Riddle, who's Voldemort's thrown all these like crazy killing, dismembering moves, and Dumbledore just disables everything he's doing. He's not even trying to kill him because he can't kill him. He knows he can't kill him for like backstory reasons. And so his ability is just like he shuts down everything he does because he also has love on his side. He like has compassion and love, and that's the like one thing that the main bad dude can't defeat. Bitches. When you discover love, it's going to change your life. But yeah, Dumbledore is like he creates magic. It's not just like he knows the spells. He's like invented half of the world's like laws when it comes to magic and stuff. And so his ability to fight is not just based on he's like, I've got the killing spell. It's also the like, I'm fairly invincible because I decide when I want to die.
Totally. Does. I would wager that any offensive spell that Dumbledore could possibly muster would fall demonstrably short of a Balrog with a giant flaming sword smashing down on Gandalf as hard as he possibly can, and Gandalf simply holding up his stick and creating a barrier that makes his sword explode. And then he proceeds to drag that motherfucker and get a lightning sword and fight him from the bottom of a mountain all the way to the top, all the way up the stairs. You read the books, Gandalf drops down to that pit. He's fighting that Balrog at the bottom of a mountain, continues to fight the Balrog all the way up the stairs. We're talking like he's an old man.
Cardio fitness is impressive.
That's incredible for a senior citizen.
Then proceeds to win the fight, die, and then God is like, well, you're simply not done. So
he doesn't
you're
die. He just goes into the nether region in between where he ceases to exist.
Yeah, because he's died, and then God was like, well, you need to come back because you're supposed to be what Saruman was. Saruman has failed in his job as like the White Wizard, so you need to be the White Wizard. So God, he's like, even if he loses the battle, God might just be like, well, you know what, you're not done, so I'm going to bring you back stronger, and then he'll just come back and dust.
And now you're hella racist. We get it. Bring you back as the leader of the Whites. We understand.
I don't know how Dumbledore could. And the thing is, like, you're right. Like Gandalf isn't throwing out huge offensive things that Dumbledore could probably handle a lightning sword. He's 100%. Probably got a spell for that. But I just think in terms of endurance and hacks, Gandalf has it in the long run.
I definitely think the endurance. I've never seen Dumbledore run the same way that Gandalf does, so I will give that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the long answer to that short question. Love
to see it.
Okay, you get to play a character in the Star Wars universe or the Marvel universe. Which do you pick?
I actually get to be that character with their powers?
Yeah. So you got to choose.
Am I bound to their storyline? So as in, like, if I chose to be Anakin in Star Wars, will I inevitably become Vader?
Yeah. You will be a child killer.
Okay, I got you.
In that case, Anakin.
yeah. You know what I mean? Then it would definitely probably be someone in the MCU.
I've got the Tony Stark facial hair going on.
Tony Stark would be great. He doesn't die, though. He dies very nobly. But he does die. I mean, being Captain America would be great. He's the best. He has the most honor. He has the coolest movies, the coolest fight scenes. He has the least like bulk busted powers, really jacked, really handsome, and then at the
Shoulders
end
are great.
shoulders are great, and then at the end of his storyline, he saves the world multiple times and then goes and lives a full life with a beautiful wife and dies an old happy man passing his Captain America shield onto his best friend. Bang. I think that's a good choice.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with that.
I like that choice. It was less about the powers for you and more about the nobility.
He said he wants to be
well,
handsome and jacked.
Handsome and jacked also works out really well. But I mean, when I watch MCU movies, like Winter Soldier is the best movie. And then when they start fighting like multiversal threats with like crazy hack abilities and special effects, and like, you know, they're fighting guys that can end a whole world with the snap of their fingers, it's like there just doesn't seem to be that much in it. It's much easier to convey those types of fights in comic panels than it is. It's really hard to make them cool in movies, which is why the Captain America movies and like the more low-tech Marvel movies tend to be the better ones.
They're going to have trouble going back to that too, because they've gone to this level now. It's hard to be like, anyway, because when they go back to like a Spider-Man where he's saving Queens, it's like, who fucking cares about
that's
Queens?
part of the reason why they did Deadpool and Wolverine the way they did, so they can sort of be like, you know what, we did too much of that stuff. It's a little bit too much for everyone. Let's take it back to basics.
Yeah, but they're doing Agatha now, and that's going to be all mystical and magical, and that's going to tie into bigger stories. I think it's too confusing. Calm down.
Yeah.
Really nerd out together. I like this.
Yeah.
But also, we're taking up way too much time. We're going to let you go.
We're going to let you go with the final one. All right.
Oh, we haven't asked this in so long.
We have not asked this in ages. Yeah. All right. You're going to go on stage to play your biggest headline set ever, an hour and a half set. All right. With all the big, long, screamy boys. You have to go on stage wearing either cold, wet socks or cold, wet underwear. Perfectly dry, but you have to put on either cold, wet socks or cold, wet underwear to do the set. What do you choose and why?
You know what? I just don't think either are that bad.
So what do you pick then?
I am a, like, TMI, I'm a sweaty boy. Let me tell you. I touched that stage within half an hour, bro. I'm dripping.
Yeah.
And I'm soaking through my shirt.
Crowd, eh?
I'm soaking through my shirt. I'm soaking through my undies. I'm soaking through my fucking socks. They're all getting wet. So starting with either wet boxers or wet socks, it doesn't seem like much of a diff. I guess I would say boxers to preserve my shoes. Because if you start with wet socks, you might end up fucking up your shoes. And that seems a little bit more expensive in the long run. And like, if you've got wet undies, it's like, whatever.
You're the first person to give that answer for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've asked this question a lot.
The only problem with wet undies is like, if they soak through, then you might look like you piss yourself, which would be a little bit odd.
Oh yeah, just don't wear like tan color or grey, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, but I don't know. Neither. It's one of those like, which one's gonna be? I don't think either would be particularly uncomfortable. The cold would be.
Are you a chafy boy? Do you chafe at all?
No, not really. But I mean, when you said cold, wet, you said it as if cold was supposed to be a bad thing, and I'm thinking refreshing. It's great. Love it to be cold. I overheat on stage.
I don't think of that. I think just like. I've used this thing before about like putting on like a cold wetsuit in the mornings. Fucking sucks. It's horrible. Going for a surf, and that's like the way you're starting. It's just ugh. And
but it's also, if you're using a wetsuit, you're generally surfing in winter. So we live on the beach here.
True.
So like you get up on a cold morning to get an early surf in as the sun's coming.
Yeah, I think that about going on stage in UK in the middle of winter, putting on cold wet underwear.
Oh, that's true. It's cold there.
Yeah, I think that the boxers would provide significantly fewer problems for your, like, you know, I don't want to end up with like trench foot. I don't want to fuck up my shoes.
Again,
I think that
you fucking people, hour and a half. You're not getting trench foot in an hour and a half.
If you leave,
but if you have soaking wet socks on and the friction, because I played barefoot on stage once and Warped Tour. Never ever do that again. Got blisters on the soles of my feet, and I was playing for like half an hour. I think if you're jumping around for an hour and a half in soaking wet socks, and you start to get those like pruny, the soles of your feet start to go pruny.
Toes, yeah.
Jumping around, the skin's going to start going. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be horrible. It's going to stink. It's going to be fucking nuts. I think boxers, they're just going to be wet. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to have any potential other issues related to like friction or smell or ruining your fucking shoes or whatever.
I'm a chafy thigh boy.
Your thighs are this fucking big, bro.
That's my straight up concern of like wet, sticky things. I'm like, that's just going to chafe instantly. As soon as I start moving around, thighs going to be rubbing. My feet, they're fine being wet for an hour.
I have a thigh gap though, because I have atrophy in my leg muscles, so I have a thigh gap, so I don't have to worry about that.
Hot girl problems. I don't know about that.
Telling you, man, I got chicken legs down here. I'm walking around on stilts. My underwear's going to dry. It's going to be like it's hung out. It's going to have
So much air, so much airflow. Too much.
Unless you're wearing tan or grey pants and you got a social media singer of trash but pisses himself at live show.
Yeah.
Yeah, something that like a lot of people don't mention is that existential crisis of when you go to the toilet and you're wearing like pants that show up wet and you're washing your hands and you come out of the toilet and some has splashed on your pants. You're like, that's right where my penis is. People are going to think that I've dribbled on my pants.
I don't know that I've ever washed my hands so furiously that I've splattered my crotch.
No, but sometimes it's the tap, isn't it? You misjudge the furious flow of the tap, and you just like you pull up a thing and
my crotch is too close to the ground. I'm having to wash my hands like this most of the time, so it's not an issue. That must be it.
Well, I'm glad that we finished on a high note. Very highbrow stuff.
Way too high. I barely reached the tap.
There we go. Dude, it's been a pleasure. It was so good to finally get you on after many, many moons of trying to organize this. And it was like literally the easiest interview. Yesterday, I was like, let's just do it tomorrow. Okay, done.
Let's do it. Anytime, guys. Really appreciate the opportunity.
And congratulations on the album. It is fucking stellar. We genuinely like it. That's not just blowing smoke. If we didn't like it, we probably wouldn't have got you on. Like, wait for a good album. So there's your indicator. But everyone, go listen to the brand new Trash Boat album. Toby, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you.
We're big fans of you as a human. And also, I'm now going to go look up Lord of the Rings knowledge so I can talk with you more about it.
We will continue this conversation whilst working out next time in Australia.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. We're going to talk to some friends that we know that are booking people and be
I wasn't kidding. I've already texted.
Why have this band not been here?
We'd love it.
Make it happen.
Love it.
All right, dude. Thanks so much. Go and get some sleep.
I will do.
Sweet dreams.
Peace.
Thank you, man. Bye.